Aaron. Nice.
Hey, Bjorn.
Hey, Aaron. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hey guys, thanks for coming out. This is like super awesome. We're doing this on a Sunday night. Just kind of changed for us. Also had this amazing spot that was being lent to us by Ron, who's going to say a few things about his various projects in space and everything that's happening in crypto. Just really appreciate it.
Yeah. So I'm Ron Mears. This is the Crypto Hub at Fanbase. Fanbase is a blockchain project that we think will change the way we all interact with our favorite media. On the front end, we're a crowdfunder for various media production projects like film and music and novels and games. And then we're doing some other things with licensing those creative works and exchanging those creative works and intellectual property. So that's what I'm the CEO of that company. In total, this is the Crypto Hub, though, where we have not just Fanbase, but in the future we hope to have other companies working out of here, all blockchain related, through some other companies that I have that we haven't talked about yet because Fanbase has to do well first. But what I'm looking for and why I host is because I always need people to help, and I always need people to share our message, and I always need employees, frankly. So a few things that we're hiring for currently are we need crypto writers, people that are knowledgeable about crypto and want to write for a few shows that we have. Upstairs we have a music studio and a green screen room and some cool stuff up there. So we have a show with Eitan Shander, who is on 97.5 The Fanatic in the mornings, and he's on Fox 29. His show is called The Investigators. So we're looking at various cryptocurrencies, and specifically fraud, but we're also discussing projects that are good projects. He is kind of I don't know how you would say, a provocateur, I guess, in some ways. He doesn't know much about crypto, so we need writers. He's presenting the information, but we need people that know crypto to write his scripts. And the people who are writing those scripts are then interviewed on camera on our show. It's a green screen show, and we're trying to pump out content. So I host a show called Moonshot. We need people to edit that. It's a news program, and it's about crypto. So rather than we're doing all the media stuff, so rather than advertise or pay somebody else to advertise for Fanbase, we want to collect the eyeballs, and it's green screen because we have ads going on behind the speakers. There's a lot of place for advertising, not just for Fanbase, but over time, the various companies that come into this facility. So it's a school, it's an institute, and it's also a venture capital facility. And we're modeling it after and this is a long shot, so don't think I'm comparing myself to Consensus, but Consensus has a facility just like this in Brooklyn. They have 40 companies, all Ethereum type companies out of there. We're trying to do that. That's like the 5-year plan or something, the 3-year or 5-year plan out of here. But we have a lot of our expenses covered because both spaces I rent out on Airbnb. So like 4 days out of the month, I get my money back, and the other 26, all the bills are paid, and we can have companies in here working without having to pay, and it's a creative space too. So it's not just the crypto stuff. We have the full-scale marketing and media production capabilities upstairs with the music studio and stuff. So in 6 months, if you guys are still coming around, I'll be talking more about the VC and the school probably. Right now, we're just hiring for Fanbase because Fanbase needs to do well to demonstrate to everyone that we're not just a facility Fanbase came out of here and launched a successful, so ours is a security token offering, and we already have the eyeballs for the shows that we're creating, so then when your company comes in here, you don't have to go anywhere else for anything, you know. You get interviewed on our shows, you use our facility, etc. So that's what we're about. We do have other meetups here, so some of the other crypto meetups, because we obviously want people to come and be familiar with Fanbase, and then also be thinking of, if you are creating your own technologies, you know, that would be a cool spot to be in 3 months or 6 months, which is why I've given most of you guys my card, and then on that table over there, either the Fanbase card or the Mears Media Group card, or both me. If anything I've said to you registers, or like you're thinking about something, or you think we could collaborate on something, selfishly, that's why I'm down with these meetups, because I need a lot of help, and in the future we want this to be a bigger space for crypto-related stuff. So, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
And
don't look. Hi.
want the lights down at all?
Oh, I don't know. Can you guys see the slides?
Dim it a little bit, Ron.
Dim the lights.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, I'm Pamela Morgan. I am absolutely thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for hosting me, and thank you so much for having us in this amazing space. This is really pretty remarkable. I am so excited that you guys all came out on a Sunday night to talk about my favorite subject, and soon to be yours, crypto assets and death. That's totally why you came, right? Okay. So a couple quick things before I get into the presentation. One, you can reach me at empoweredlaw.com. You can also find me on Twitter at PamelaLawJD. Get it? Okay. That's like lawyer humor. It's really bad. It's like a dad joke, but worse. And then this is CC by SA. All of my work tonight is presented under a Creative Commons license. That means that you are welcome to use it. You can mash it up. You can share it. You can make it commercial. The only thing is you have to share alike. Okay? So if you want to do some sort of other extra commercial stuff, you need to contact me. If you're willing to give your work for free to the community, which has worked very well for me, I strongly recommend that you do that. You don't need to ask me for permission. You can just use it. You can find this slide deck on bit.ly, bit.ly / you ready? Estate planning is awesome. You knew that, right? So it's an easy URL to remember. If you don't remember, reach out to me. I'm happy to send it to you. So before I get into the nuts and bolts, you probably want to know why I'm qualified to stand here. And I would say that most people in our industry, I'm very reluctant to use the word expert, especially because it's such a new technology. But I've been working exclusively with Bitcoin and open blockchain since early 2014. I first heard about Bitcoin because I was speaking at a conference in Athens, Greece. And I was speaking at this conference called Disrupt, Startup, Scale Up. And I was like, yeah, I'm about this, because in case you can't tell, I'm kind of rebellious by nature. So I was super stoked about this conference. And I went there, and I'm in the audience, and I'm like, nothing that's being said is disruptive. This is not at all what I consider disruptive. There was a woman talking about electing Hillary Clinton in 2013. And regardless of what your politics are, you cannot tell me that that is disruptive. It was like, oh, it's heartbroken. And then I was sitting in the audience, and someone got up on stage, who you probably are all familiar with, Andreas Antonopoulos, took the stage, and he started talking about Bitcoin. And I was sitting in the audience, and I was like, if half of what this guy says is true, this technology might actually change the world. This actually might be the real deal. And so I left that conference, and I started researching. And I spent all of my free time, and made free time that I didn't actually have, to nerd out about Bitcoin. And I was very, very interested in, specifically in the programmability of money, and how we can prevent people from doing bad things with the code. So multi-signature is very, very interesting to me. As a lawyer, I'm licensed to practice law in both Michigan and Illinois. Don't judge me. One of the good ones. So I'm a lawyer, and are any of you lawyers? Okay, have any of you seen the Bar Journal magazines? You're like, why would I read that? No, I haven't. Okay, so the best part of the Bar Journal magazines is because in the very back, the back pages are always the best pages in any publication, right? So you flip to the back, and it's all the lawyer discipline stuff. It's all where lawyers have stolen their client funds. It's where they've done all sorts of terrible things. And so when you read this over and over again, you start to realize that we have a problem with custody and funds. And why I was so interested is because Bitcoin to me means that we can stop that problem. So instead of, don't be evil, it's can't be evil. Because we can use this technology to program in what is right and good. We're not going to fix every problem, but we can fix a lot of them. So that's why I started really being interested in Bitcoin. And in early 2014, I quit my full-time job that I loved. I was traveling the world teaching entrepreneurship professors how to teach an entrepreneurial mindset. So like super meta, it was really rad. I loved that job, but I actually loved Bitcoin more. And I felt that I could actually make an impact in this industry. It was early days for me. There weren't a lot of lawyers, and there certainly weren't a lot of lawyers who were not interested in regulation. There weren't a lot of lawyers who were interested in actually using this technology to help real people. And so that's been my focus since day one. I started a company called Third Key Solutions, and how that came about was because I started, when I was practicing law, I was helping startups who were using Bitcoin. And what was happening at that time is people were getting funded in Bitcoin, and then mysteriously, they would get hacked, or someone would run away with all the Bitcoin. And I'm like, why is this happening, right? We have multi-sig, why is this happening? Well, at that point, there wasn't copay, there was no green address, there was no nice multi-sig solution. And so I started trying to help businesses use multi-sig in a meaningful way. And so I started talking to everyone smart I knew in the industry to kind of fill the knowledge gaps, right? Because I'm like, I know the legal side of this, and I understand the business planning side of it, but I need help with the technology side of it. So Andreas Antonopoulos was kind enough to agree to help me kind of create those processes along with a number of other people who are super important but whose names you would not know. And we created these processes, and from that grew Third Key Solutions. So I'm the CEO, Andreas is the CTO, Richard Kagan is the CMO, and we focus on non-custodial kind of key solutions, right? Key management solutions. So we never hold keys for people. We try and help you kind of create your own plan to hold your own keys. You're like, why do I care about any of this? I'm getting there, I promise. Okay, so how we got into inheritance planning was because we were doing this whole key management non-custodial thing, and then I started asking these people who have these companies in Bitcoin this really uncomfortable question. And that question was, how much of your net worth is in Bitcoin? And they would look at me as if I was an alien, and they would be like, shh, all of it? Like, duh. I'm like, okay, well, all right, good. So if all of it is in Bitcoin, what happens if something happens to you? Like, is your family okay? Are they going to be able to make it if they can't access your cryptocurrency? And they would get like this look, and they would be like, no. And so then we started creating plans to help these business owners, and then realizing that it's not just business owners who face this problem, right? And as the value of Bitcoin and as the value of crypto assets increase, it becomes a higher percentage of your overall net worth. And so those questions of can your family actually access these assets if something happens to you becomes a more and more important question to answer for you. So I don't scale. I don't want to scale. I like working on discrete projects and trying to solve them. I'm not interested in building a multi-million-dollar business. Other people are, but what I like to do is find something that really interests me and try and create solutions, and then find another problem and then try to create solutions. So that's why I wrote this book. So this book is Cryptoasset Inheritance Planning. To my knowledge, it's the only book that exists on the subject. I've been working on this for about 3 years. The other day, I was on Twitter. You guys are all on Twitter? Crypto Twitter? Yeah, okay. So I was on Twitter, and someone was talking about inheritance planning. And then someone else was like, oh yeah, you should check out Pamela's work. And they were like, is she the only person who's working on this? Because every time this subject comes up, her name is here. And I'm like, well, you're welcome to join me. Like, that's why I make my stuff open source. Please, we need more people. So I also do lawyer trainings. I train lawyers around the world. On the last slide, you probably saw that I've actually been able to use this industry to create a lifestyle that I want, that works for me. So I travel full-time now. And I basically travel for work, and then I wait until the next conference invites me, and then I go there. And then I hang out for a while, and then I go to the next conference, and that's kind of how I'm living right now, and it's pretty awesome. I'm really, really happy with it. But this industry has allowed me to create that lifestyle that works for me, and I'm very grateful, and I'm happy to be able to come here and share my knowledge with you. So you can find this book on Amazon. It's available in paperback. It's available in ebook. It's also available narrated by the velvety voice of Stephanie Murphy.
Woo!
I know, right? I was like,
Big
yes! Thank you, Stephanie. Oh yeah, so what could be better than Deb and Stephanie Murphy's velvety voice? I don't know. But yeah, I'm very, very fortunate that she agreed to do that. So that's also available. All right. You guys didn't know there was a quiz tonight, did you? We didn't put that in the meetup stuff, right? Okay. All right, so first multiple choice question. If you die without a will, which is also called a testament sometimes, or a trust, who decides who gets what? So, how many of you are A? Are you going to be shy? It's okay. For the video, 12. Okay. Some people think, that they have no idea. Some people think that their family decides. But the reality is that if you do not have a will or a trust set up, if you do not affirmatively do something, the state will decide through local law. There are laws that are called the laws of intestacy, meaning if you die without a will, the state has already decided how your assets will be distributed. So,